Hello everyone and welcome to RBL Talk. I wanted to make an in-depth trailer for the podcast as the original short version has become outdated, as the show has grown from its humble beginnings in January 2022. In this trailer, we will go through the podcast's vision, what I hope to achieve, how you can get involved with the podcast and get on the episodes, along with the show's membership and finances. The vision. Originally created the podcast in 2022 after our 4-1 defeat in the DFB Pokal final in 2021 against Borussia Dortmund. I wanted to connect with RBL fans around the world, but there was no English channels. So I set out to find some. As there wasn't any, I created one. Now, almost anyone can create a podcast these days. You can even create it for free. You can even do it quite cheaply. But when I created the podcast, I knew it was going to get expensive, as if you're going to do it properly, you need to put money into it. That means paying for hosting, for backups, paying for decent equipment, paying for software. I was prepared to do all that, but you can put money down or into something without being successful, so I had to have a vision. I wanted to create a podcast, one of its kind, something unique. Anyone can just dribble for 20 odd minutes, plus there's some podcasts that do that. I had to find a niche. And what I came up with was to be the central community globally for all RBL fans and supporters worldwide. Nothing ever comes to you without working hard for it. And it's okay to reach for the stars, but you need to know how you're going to get there. So this is how the podcast is going to achieve that. As mentioned earlier, anyone can just talk nonsense for 20 minutes or more. There's plenty of podcasts that do it, including football podcasts. I'm not one of those. I review every game with a tactical analysis on how we could have prevented goals from the start and everything else. I also wanted to give every single person who is an RBL supporter a voice. I wanted to make it easy for them to be able to comment and get their posts heard by many. I also wanted to make it interactive. Not all comments need to be interacted with, but you're listening not only just to find out if you're on the show, but you're also wanting to communicate with the host of the show. I also wanted to make it easy for RBL fans to get on the show as a special guest. To record with me, any RBL fan can come on the show and tell everyone their story of how they became an RBL fan. This was the basis for the RBL Talk segment, and if there was no comments or input from listeners on an episode, I could use this segment for something specific about the team. It also evolved to be able to have guests on the show from other teams, which the show has had many and continues to grow. I wanted to build a community for RBL fans to be welcomed worldwide. We are still a young club, and we don't have tons of supporters, so I couldn't create an official fan club in Australia, where I'm from, as it doesn't meet the requirements, but that wouldn't have sufficed for my vision. So I made a Discord channel, primarily in English, but there is also a German channel, as although the podcast is in English, to achieve being the worldwide podcast, I wanted to make sure that I welcomed all the local fans as well if they so choose. There's off-topic channel for unrelated chats, not on football or RB Leipzig, and I encourage you to join in the community. I also post updates with anything new in the Discord about the podcast first. The podcast website. Most podcasts that have a website aren't unique. They literally just have all their podcast catalogs to listen to. Maybe some updates and information on the actual podcast itself. And that's really about it. If you're wanting to be big, you need to expand. So with the podcast website that I created, I made it into a global hub for anyone to go and see the latest news on RBL from accredited publications and journalists around the world. As I have no affiliation with any, it's only right to still give them their traffic, as they have to get paid for ad revenue, as it is part of it. Plus, there's a thing called plagiarism, so you don't want to just copy and paste the whole thing. Social media. The podcast has a presence over multiple social media channels. The main ones are Twitter or X, YouTube, and Instagram, with socials on other platforms as well, like Facebook, TikTok, and Mastodon. Twitter or X is essentially where you will find the biggest presence of posts, and Instagram is for visual content and short-form video. YouTube for all video types, including video episodes with guests and livestream watch-alongs. So if the post has been put up on Twitter or X with an image or short video, it will be released on Instagram and YouTube. Livestream watch-alongs. As I am unable to attend the games living in Australia, I wanted to help spread the brand of our club, get more people into the club as fans. Already around the world, we didn't have a place to watch games together and no English radio of the game. So I hope to achieve this with the interactive livestream watch-alongs with commentary. Viewers can also get involved directly with the streams by commenting on the platform they view the stream from, such as YouTube, Twitter X, or Twitch. I also encourage opposition fans to jump on if we're playing you, and I am doing an interactive watch-along, as healthy banter is always good and fun between fan bases. Memberships and finances. You can support the show over Patreon by becoming a backer of the show for as little as $2 a month to help cover the cost of the show, and every month you support the show, I'll put your name on the podcast website under the Patreon members for the month. If you wanted to get into the private channel on Discord community, only for the Patreon members, you can go up to the Backer Extra. And if you want an ad-free listening experience and episodes up to a day or so early, depending on our fixture, there is a supporter tier for around about $5.50 per month, depending on exchange rates and currencies. You'll also get access to the private Discord channel in the RB fans community that the RBL Talk podcast has created. I wanted to make these prices fair and reasonable and of value to everyone. So at the moment, I'm not going to be changing any of them. It's only going to be changed with exchange rates around the world. I don't plan on using this podcast as my only sole income, so I don't have to work my day job of 60 plus hours a week. But if I ever were able to, I could only focus on the podcast. I would do it to continue to grow and expand, but I'm not doing this show for my own personal gain or financial gain. I appreciate every single listener, not just Patreon member, and I appreciate you for listening to this podcast trailer. Until next time, I've been Justin Crozer. Bye-bye for now.